He defend, he attack, he hang out with weird shoulder pad guys smoking tobacco, I hope.
It's time. Come on, let's go. They need you to move. Very good, Chronicler. You know, you're much more agreeable than you used to be. What are you doing? You know what happened last? There's nothing out there. You can't leave. Hello? You can't leave. You can't fucking leave. So stop trying and just sit down. There, you see, that wasn't so hard, was it? Hey, look on the bright side, Chronicler. At least you didn't use your face this time. That must be why you never show it on the camera, huh?
Welcome everyone to the Orange Town arc by yours truly, the Midnight Chronicler. Guys, look, I know I gave the first arc, Romance Dawn, a 10 out of 10. It was a fantastic beginning that I love so much. Even after having read more of One Piece, can't get enough of it. But Orange Town had a lot to live up to, and so did it live up to it? Well, the Orange Town arc. This captures chapters 8 through 21 in the manga, and needless to say, I tore through these chapters with all the excitement and optimism I could possibly have. You know, there's just so much to love here, from the meeting of a brand new Straw Hat member, to the introduction of the wackiest clown character I've ever seen, to the heartbreaking story about a dog that, I just love this character. It's such a damn good arc. But let's start from the beginning. Chapter 8, Nami. I love that this next arc begins focusing mainly on the relationship between Luffy and Zoro. Yes, I called him Zoro this time, not Zolo. Sorry guys, I know that was commented millions of times. What seemed like millions of times in the last Romance Dawn arc video, I kept calling Zoro Zolo. But that's how it was written in the manga, so you know, sue me, I guess. And after being built up as this complete badass, it's funny to see his and Luffy's personalities mesh in a pretty admirable way. But anyways, in this, their duo is about to become a throuple as Luffy gets hilariously taken away by a giant bird that's the size of a pterodactyl that he first assumed he could probably eat, which is so on point for Luffy, isn't it? The pair are then set upon by a small pirate gang and a mysterious girl named Nami who's also caught up in all this, and Nami quickly proves her worth to the crew in her own special kind of way. You see, Nami is an awesome character. Her skills are made obvious like right away. She's quick thinking and ends up being exactly the kind of personality Luffy and Zoro need as a devil's advocate. You know, she's someone who can think 10 steps ahead. She also has a really good heart and her aspirations are pretty noble in the story. Although it's funny how she and Luffy have this really unique relationship too, you know. Luffy really wants her as a navigator, and Nami can see Luffy's able to handle his own after he beats a couple guys up, and both kind of need each other in their own way until Nami learns that Luffy and Zoro are pirates, to which she's not the biggest fan. But fortunately for Luffy, she'll need their help to defeat the maniacal, the awesome, the incredibly zany pirate captain Buggy the Clown. This guy is just the coolest. I mean, look how he's sitting. Just sitting like this. Anyway, Buggy's crew eventually takes Luffy hostage, and Nami pretends to join his crew of miscreants. Secretly though, she's trying to drink them under the table so she can once again make off with her treasure for her own personal, although noble, gain. All the while though, Luffy is captured and tries hilariously to chew through the bars in his cage. Why doesn't he just rubber band himself through it? I don't know, anyway. Buggy the clown shoots through this building with his butt. God, some of the stuff that this manga makes me say to a camera. Shoots through buildings with his giant buggy balls in a rather proud display of how big of an a-hole he is. Then the cannon turns itself toward Luffy, and before the wick can be lit, Nami turns on Buggy and his crew, and Zoro, the sword-wielding badass, just shows up and slices through Buggy's crew and Buggy himself. Which is great, except Buggy can't be killed that way because he literally has the ability to like disassemble himself and use his floating appendages to fight, knives in hand and all. What transpires from here though is the coolest fight scene I've read in the manga to this point. Zoro fights off Buggy's floating Mickey Mouse hands and turns his own cannon on him and his crew. And anytime Zoro has to get his swords out and start fighting people, you know, Ichiro Oda knows that those action scenes have to be pretty hardcore and that he really does a good job of making Zoro look like the incredible, like, swordsman that he is, you know, and it's so much fun to read that. But then, boom, you know, our heroes escape. Well, Luffy's still kind of locked up, but Zoro finds a way to carry the freaking cage with him onto rooftops. Yeah, as they make it back to town and away from the raging clown and his crew. And at this point, guys, I'm starting to recognize just what it is that I love about One Piece, and it's these scenes. It's the Straw Hats working together to defeat a bad guy. And I love when the bad guy is like Buggy the Clown, just completely a work of insane imagination, and who's got this like shroud of fun to them. Like Buggy, yes, he is nuts and maniacal and a clown, but a pirate, which is a awesome mix in its own way, but there's something fun, like there's an element of fun to it. It doesn't take itself too wildly serious, which I love. And it all makes for a ton of fun, and so far, Orange Town for me is going really, really well. Then we move into my favorite part of the chapter. You know, Buggy decides to unleash this beast on the Straw Hat crew, and it's lamb-looking rider. What the hell is that guy doing? It's also great because we get to meet the greatest One Piece character to this point in the story, and that is Choo Choo the dog. I mean, just look at this little guy. He's all full of attitude and gruff loyalty. He's also got a pretty heartbreaking backstory too, that the crew learn about after Luffy strangles him for swallowing the cage's key. Jesus, Luffy. But anyway, the dog story revolves around him and his owner, a nice man who had to leave Choo Choo in charge of a store they owned together. As the dog dutifully stayed there in charge, the owner sadly passed away, leaving Choo Choo to his post for years afterward. And just, I mean, look at that face, just a statue of determination. He defend, he attack, he hang out with weird shoulder pad guys smoking tobacco, I hope. And defend he does, as the great and terrible Lion Tamer shows up to take care of Luffy and the gang once and for all in the name of Buggy and his buggy balls. Instead though, the beast and its rider smash Luffy's cage, freeing the rubber band man. Together with Luffy, they defeat the Lion Tamer and his pet cat. Buggy though is finally conquered when Luffy inflates himself to deflect I'll say this one more time, a buggy ball. Back at the Clown Prince himself, and the Straw Hats fight Buggy's crew once and for all. During all this though, Buggy's knives pierce Luffy's straw hat, you know, the thing that we've come to know as this great symbol that, you know, started all of this, Luffy's journey, our journey reading it. His hat just symbolizes all that. You guys can imagine, triggers a big time emotional memory for us all. And from here on out, you know Buggy's done messed up. And I love that One Piece does that. It just takes its time to give us these big emotional hits before delivering a nice piece of revenge on the enemies. You know, Ichiro Oda really knows how to pay off in big moments. He'll set things up early in the story or get you to realize or have an emotional connection to something like Luffy's hat. have something bad in quotes happen to it, and then we get that little bit of revenge. So you always have this kind of setup and payoff thing going on, and it's very evident over and over in Orange Town. And you also get a ton of interesting twists and turns from characters you wouldn't expect, like from Buggy himself, who, you know, the fact that him and Shanks used to be friends, I mean, boom, that's like a mind-blown kind of cool moment there. Once Buggy is defeated and the crew say their farewells to the townsfolk, the mayor gets to annoy us just one last time before the Orange Town arc comes to an end, and we forge forward finally to the Grand Line. Man, what an arc Orange Town was. There was a ton to love here, you know. Nami, obviously, you guys, longtime One Piece fans know much better than I. She's a fantastic piece to the crew. In my eyes, a great new addition. I'm still very early in the story, and I might be butchering the dog's name, but Choo Choo is an amazing character, and that sense of adventure from One Piece that I love is absolutely present here. You know, do I prefer it to Arc 1? It's close, but no, I'll still give Orange Town a very, very solid 9 out of 10. And I'll say that I'm excited to jump into Syrup Village and see what else awaits me. So, everyone, I know it was a long time coming, but it's here. The Orange Town arc, guys. Again, I'm still loving the story very, very much. Yeah, I could be different than everyone else and say I hate One Piece, it's overrated, but I really can't. I think it's charming, it's fun, it's funny, and I love the artwork. There's just something very home feeling about the series that continues to really kind of draw me to it. And yeah, I continue to be a huge, huge fan. So guys, hope you enjoyed this. It's been a long time. I know I'll try to get these out a little quicker clip in the future, but for now, appreciate everyone watching and see you next time.